In this video, we're going to be going over a pressure washing job recap that brought in $950 in 4 hours.
Kiss my ass. Hey, honestly, just shut up.
What's up, y'all? It's Jeffrey Beck here with J Morgan Pressure Wash, and yeah, that's right, $950 in 4 hours. I use a 4 gallon per minute pressure washer, and the old running back and forth to the truck, moving the soap line back and forth to water technique. With the long soap nozzle. Anyways, we'll get to that in the video in a minute, but first things first, son was feeling a little sick earlier and now he's feeling better and a little rowdy. If you hear something in the background, a little rowdy. But anyways, in this video we're going to break down what I used to do the job, how long it took, how much soap and gas it took, and how much profit I made. Real quick before we get started, shout out to Justin over at Forever Self-Employed for letting me bring this series back. He used to do the pressure washing job recap videos, and I've known him for a while. We've done some collabs in the past, and so I asked him, if I could bring this back. I decided I wanted to do this video format, and he said he was honored, and it was a lot of respect for me to even ask. And yeah, you got to show your love in the YouTube community, especially somebody who's helped me out so much as Justin. And I got another interview coming up on his channel soon, so I'm excited for that. But let's get into it. 2-story house wash, $950. First things first, the size of the home. I did just Google it and take the square footage off of the Zillow. It did have like a front porch area, a little carport area, back porch area that would, that would not be considered in that square footage. So I'm not sure how everyone else does their pricing. I used to, measure the roof line, go on like Google Earth and stuff like that. That way you get that more accurate square footage. It includes carports and front porch areas and stuff like that. But I've learned it's way easier and faster and just as effective to just take that square footage from like the Zillow, the Google, whatever comes up on Google. Sometimes it's like realtor.com or Zillow.com that will maybe give you info like the square footage of the home. Sometimes ask the homeowner, they'll give you the square footage, but the difference there is that square footage is only what is cooled by like air conditioner, or it's considered livable space is the difference there. And so you have some areas like garages and things like that, not livable space, but it's a lot easier to just scope the home, kind of take that square footage from Zillow or something, see if it's got a garage, porches, whatever, and adjust your pricing accordingly to that. And that's what I do now. This is also a 2-story, so that's a factor, of course. It's going to cost more than a single story, but there really wasn't too much to wash. As far as this 2-story, it wasn't very hard to get to, and it was all vinyl siding that was up high, so super easy to reach with my bleach mix. So I wasn't about to charge them crazy for that. But I've had homes, 2-story homes that have like upstairs balconies and stuff. You got to go through the house to get to them. So yeah, we're getting a lot higher in the square footage on that. But this one's super easy. I kept it at 20 cents a square foot. That's what I went with. Don't care what anybody else says. Came out to $950. It was, I believe, right at like a little less than 40 miles. And I do charge a travel fee. If you don't need to add a travel fee, for me, anything past 30 miles, it's $1.50 a mile. And that's to and from. So whenever you look up an address and you see it's from where your house is or wherever your office, whatever you're working from is, to their location, if it goes past 30 miles, like in this case, I think it was like 38, I could have done 8 times 2 and then times 150, charge them a travel fee, but I decided not to because we're already up to like a $950 ticket. I didn't care about like 16 bucks, or 24, whatever it is. And I knew I could complete the job relatively quickly. It did take around an hour to get there, around an hour to get back. So you could call it, 6 hours leaving the house and getting back. I think I'd used about 12 gallons on bleach, and that's around 50 bucks for me. I think it's $3.89 plus tax, and roughly like $20 in gas, including in the pressure washer. So in all, I'm thinking 70 bucks on expenses. I don't put any surfactants in my bleach, at least on when I'm doing siding. So you could say I walked away with about $880 profit. Not bad for a half day's work. That is the only job I did that day. It was super hot. It was something in the 90s. Make sure you guys drink a lot of water. Make sure you got ice in an ice chest. I even use those rags that like get cold and stuff. I make sure you just stay cool. I take a complete other set of clothes too, complete dry set of clothes to completely change in my truck if I need to pull over somewhere, go in a restroom, whatever I need to do to get changed so that I don't send my body into shock or hyperventilate or whatnot. Or what's it? No, hypothermia. What am I saying? And like I was mentioning before, the 4-gallon per minute machine, and then some long range soap tips and regular soap tips, as well as some long reach tips and regular fan tips. I'm now using a J-rod. In my previous videos I mentioned where I used to use like the Ryobi spin little nozzle, but yeah, those things get corrosive and start leaking and things like that, and so I tried out a J-rod and I really like it. But that was after making this video, and it was actually after this day I decided to try it because I was testing out some of those like blue and pink long range soap tips, and I know they're kind of similar. So, and like I mentioned in the beginning, the running back and forth technique. So if you don't know, we use the downstream injector. I have a super sud sucker downstream injector. It's pulling about 30% of my bleach, and like I said, no surfactant in the bleach. And in order to keep it low pressure and high flow on rinsing, you can take your line that's going into your soap and just take it out and put it in your water. So don't change your tips, keep using your soap tip, but now you're drawing water. I did start a little DIY project, trying my own remote downstream injector system, and it is super fun, super nice, and I'll be sure to make a video on that and share that with y'all. But yeah, that's how guys are able to use high flow, low pressure with a pressure washer and do soft washing technique without having to run back and forth to the truck. And that's what made this super easy, made it fly by. Got it done in 4 hours. Took plenty of breaks though, because like I said, it was very hot. There was some areas where there was like some wood stain, but I think it was it ended up being sealed or something because the bleach didn't affect it. But the technique that I use, I just get my soap mix. I always call bleach soap. I just have made that a habit, so that's what I call it in front of customers, just to make it simple. So I put my soap bleach in a bucket and use a brush and dip it in the bucket and then run it. Really, I take the brush off the handle and hold it in my hand and put it right against any wood I have. Like if you have vinyl siding right next to wood, run it along the vinyl siding so you don't touch the wood. Keeps it from getting on the stain. And then it's good if you have the soft wash technique and you can use low pressure, low rinse water on that as well. If not, get you a bucket of fresh water too, and it's good to have a second brush that you then use fresh water to wipe that down with and get it cleaned. That's only around like stained wood. Any raw wood you don't want the bleach to affect. Now, even though it did fly by, I was pretty busy this day, had a lot of other jobs to get lined up for the rest of the week. A lot of calls coming in too. So I didn't really set up the camera anywhere to get some third-person angles. I just threw it on my head real quick for some POV, and because of that, it's not the greatest view in some angles. But I did get some really good before and after photos that I'll share at the end of the video, and yeah, that's pretty much it on this one. It turned out good. The customer loved it, left us a 5-star review. Make sure you make yourself some thank you cards with a QR code to scan that leads them straight to your Google review page. Actually, I got a PDF down below for you in the description. It's an editable template you can put on Google Slides and put your info in there. That way you got your own thank you cards to hand out whenever you get done with a job. You hand them the invoice and the thank you card and ask them if they enjoyed the service and want to share their experience to leave y'all a 5-star review, because it really helps out the business. And be sure to point on the card that there's a QR code that they can scan to leave that review. But anyways, yeah, check that out in the description, and until next time, deuces.